Welcome to another Mastery Empowerment Course introduction. We are with Jean Ang, who works with the Arcturians and always delivers energetic transmissions that absolutely help us transform our life. This one is the Arcturian Inner Radiance and Glow transmissions. How perfect this is at this very special time of year and ahead of a great new year that stands before us. Let's welcome Jean Ang to this beautiful presentation. Thank you for being here, Jean.
Hi, Lauren. Hi, everyone. It's great to be here and really excited for these next set of transmissions.
Yes, these are important at this time because everyone is feeling this need to shine their light, shine their great light. But this is shining our best selves into the world. And we always like to ask you how you created this transmission, what guidance you received in this series of transmissions.
Yeah. I think it's so great that now more and more people are learning, understanding energy healing principles, and as well as the multidimensional sort of matrix or a reality of the physical world being important, but also the energetic world, emotional, mental, karmic or causal, spiritual, and divine, which is the framework we've been using. And other people may have a slightly different framework, but the idea that we have the physical reality that's enfolded by other non-physical realities, but then to really use those principles in our daily life to kind of make the best aspect of ourselves shine through. And I think that was part of the inspiration for this, particularly at the and beginning of a new year, kind of is very essential or important with the energies coming in. What we sort of set, usually people are setting new intentions, tends to get magnified just because of the energies of the solstice plus the New Year's and this collective consciousness of renewal. And so I thought this would be kind of one of the best ways to really bring forward our best self.
Very cool. Thank you so much for this. Again, all of these mastery empowerment courses that we do with you is a beautiful container with the group. And it's really fascinating to see how everyone transforms with these transmissions. They're subtle in a very subtle way, but yet so profound as people integrate them into their lives. So it really is wonderful. And what a great time of year for this. And so we're going to go over each of these transmissions. The first one is what everybody would like, the youthfulness and beauty. And this is like a radiance. And so it's more than just our physical body though, right? It's almost our light body lighting up. Can you share a little bit more about what is going on with our subtle bodies when we do this work and receive these transmissions?
Yeah, exactly. I think part of the inspiration was also using some of our sensing or clairvoyant activity to sort of look at things that we have in nature or our daily life that can kind of point to something also within ourselves, particularly around this theme of radiance or glow. And one of the things that I put there in the write up, which if people look, and it's exactly what you said, it's really the etheric body. This first transmission is about the pranic chi bioenergy or etheric body. And one of the places you can see that is if you've ever held a newborn and you sort of look at not their physical body, but more their energy field. And we kind of, if that's kind of new terminology for people, we sort of just react to that subconsciously. We see them sort of as fresh, kind of that baby fresh smell, but it's also there's a certain type of very clean aura because they've just come out, of being in the mother's womb, completely natural. No, they haven't really been exposed to the environment. And then a lot of women or men too might recognize this. There's sometimes a certain glow around women who are pregnant, and that's also this type of etheric that's being because it's being very active in building a new basically child organism. it has this sort of quality of sort of this new etheric coming out. So these are just sort of experiences that people might have had where the etheric body has been really dynamic. And because you can see that in someone else, whether you're seeing auras or you just get the sense you've felt that before, that means it's also in us. Also, we were both children once or babies once, and so really, what are the energy principles that we can use now at whatever age? And one is cleansing the etheric body, which is part of what's going on in the transmission. Two is kind of making the energy centers and channels open. So, kind of when the chakras, which are sort of spinning energy wheels, but they're in the etheric realm, when they're faster in their spin, they're exchanging more energy. They're kind of back to that new, fresh. They're bringing in fresh energy, expelling kind of used up energy. And then when our channels, our energy channels are open, usually that happens like people might identify this after they've done exercise. Usually you have that kind of, besides explaining it chemically, meaning the endorphins and so forth, the increased heart rate. Etherically, you've kind of expelled out all the kind of used up energy that might have been there, like by sleeping overnight. And also you're kind of breathing in that prana. And then your channels are, and health rays, they call them, are really open and expanded. So there's this combination of clearing, expanding, and then finally energizing with new prana. So we'll also go over some very efficient and easy to learn breathing exercise as part of the transmission. Finally, people, now it's very much more popular, I think, for a great reason. But people might have practiced yoga, which usually they're opening their channels also, very specifically opening their channels, kind of untying them. So they might also feel that glow after sort of a yoga session, and that's your etheric body.
Yes, all right, very good. This is a big cleanup. It is a cleanup and an expansion and an energizing, as you mentioned. Beautiful. So the first session then works with the etheric. It cleanses and energizes the etheric body. Transmission 2 and day 2 is the inner radiance. And this is working with our emotional body. And isn't it amazing where you can literally read someone, we can sense when they are emotional because we can read that. So when we're clearing and cleansing and energizing the emotional body, we're just going to glow again. We're going to be radiant, that inner radiant. Yeah, tell us about this one.
Yeah, exactly. So similar principles, but on the emotional level, it's such a important dimension of ourself. And in some ways, this is the how to create that inner radiance. We usually think about different ways we can change our physical body, whether it's clothing, makeup, certain cleansers and so forth. And we're doing the sort of same thing, but taking it into the multidimensional realm, which is a little bit deeper. It also has larger implications, which we're usually studying within a spiritual context. Specifically, now we're going into the emotional state. But this is actually the basis of beauty, too. In fact, it could be even a deeper sense of beauty. So I'll try to give the experiences of people just like you had shared so that people can kind of have that experience. Some people might already be clairvoyant in the sense that they can sense the emotional mental body, which is usually called the astral body, little bit higher than the previous body we were talking, the etheric. But a very similar principle occurs. And maybe some people are feelers of that body, the emotional body, like you were mentioning. But usually, lower frequency emotions, if we were just to look at it more as a picture, they kind of do look darker to people who kind of sense the aura as a visual rather than a feeling. They feel darker, of course, but speaking of more visual kind of sensing of this emotional body, and maybe muddier. And we've all felt that. We've kind of felt it in ourselves. We've seen it in other people. We've seen it in environments. And then if you start to kind of raise the frequency, starting to be more maybe neutral, maybe more free, maybe more relaxed, then we kind of move into happiness, joy, loving kindness, compassion. then things start to get brighter for people who are more visual with the emotional body field. And then finally, those kind of kaleidoscopes of different positive emotional states, as well as even the negative ones, they have a certain frequency, and so that's usually seen as a color. So that's why if you talk to someone who's not maybe consciously clairvoyant or consciously sensing these things, but we all have that feeling when you have that kind of uh, brightness and also color, bright colors in your emotional body. People just naturally feel comfortable or gravitate around you during those times, and we've all had those times. And these transmissions are trying to kind of lay down that pattern that makes that consistent.
It's really amazing that the things that we think about, the emotions, like the denser ones, as it says in our write-up here, the guilt, the fear, and anger, that makes it cloudy. And so if we are free and liberated from these emotions, that we're just that much brighter. And it just ties into, if our aura is a rainbow of colors, that brings to mind the rainbow body and what we're trying to achieve. And so isn't when we achieve a rainbow body, we are liberated from those lower frequencies. We are in higher vibrations of love, joy, peace, happiness, compassion. And David Hawkins' scale of frequencies comes to mind here as well. So we're learning more about really the power of a calm mind, a peaceful mind, peace and presence within us. I find it really fascinating. So the third session is another popular one, prosperity and abundance. And this goes into the mental, the causal, and the spiritual body. Tell us more.
Yeah, it's so fascinating when you use a dimensional model. It's just a model of something we've all been experiencing, and we can kind of parse it out, and then use these principles, that are becoming much more common. That I was mentioning, these energy principles, and then the assistance of different beings as well as ourselves to kind of move now to these higher dimensional states. And really, what we're talking about here, when those states are very clear, is we really have instant manifestation or very quick manifestation. So it's sort of like speaking now of the clouds, is sort of when you have a thought form, and I'm assuming I didn't write it there, but it was sort of assumed that, let's say, a thought form comes all the way from your divine self. So it's got to move through those dimensions in a way to finally get into physical manifestation. So the cleaner, clearer those dimensions are in ourselves, then the faster manifestation occurs. So how might that look practically speaking? So the ones from the divine kind of going into more density would be the spiritual body, which is more your soul plan, then your causal body, which is more your karmic cause and effect body, and then finally your mental body. And then it continues with the bodies that we just had been working on, the emotional, etheric, and then finally into the physical. But in the mental body, if you're very clear on a plan, let's say of what you want, let's say it's to build a center, and you're very clear of where you want it, how it should show up, who you'd like to attract, or the type of clients or people you'd like to serve, and there's no doubt, because the doubt, that's like another thought, that's the cloudiness. Then we all know, I'm trying to kind of give very self-evident examples, that the rate of the speed with that will manifest, it's much faster than if a person is wondering, well, should I build it here or should I build it there? There's now two competing thoughts, or I'm not really, I'm not really sure I should do it. I'm sure, will I have enough money to do it? And so there's all these other thought forms that kind of similar to the emotional, heavy thoughts of doubt. On the mental plane, it will slow down the manifestation. And we've all experienced that. So as that kind of part of the pipe is clean or cleared, then comes through faster. Now the other ones, just to kind of mention, because all the part of the pipes need to be cleared. I kind of use that analogy just for these three bodies: uh, mental, causal, and spiritual. So when you have the karmic sort of cause and effects in place, so maybe you've you've been generous in the past, whether it's this life or past life. So whether that's a conscious or subconscious factor, when you're trying to build this center, you already have the cause and effects to, let's say, generate prosperity or money to build that center because you gave out a lot of energy, out of your kind heart or so forth. So that, on the causal level, it's very clear. It's almost like an energizing portion. And then finally, on the spiritual level, if you're very clear on what your soul's speaking to you, that it's not kind of coming from some other external source, so you're wondering about that. It really comes directly, from your gut, almost speaking. If you've had that feeling like I've got to go do this, and the speed with which that probably happened, you probably surprised everyone around you, with how fast when something really kind of comes deep inside you. And there's a part of that's like, which can be called a soul level, is urgency. When people feel like either they're kind of backed up, they're at a life or death situation of themselves or their loved ones, or there's some kind of sense of pressure. This in a good sense, like you don't have much time, so you need to get this done. That could become from the soul because sometimes that's hard to generate. That also kind of moves everything fast through the pipe. So all these things will be part of the patterns being laid down, but I think we're always refining our capacity to manifest and bring forth our abundance and prosperity and share it with the world.
Wow, this is exciting. I can feel people are really looking forward to it. And we can each look back in our lives and see when we were perfectly clear and certain, and when we weren't as well, and how things manifested in that way. We call it like the doors are open, right? It feels like we're in the flow where the doors are opening, or you're getting all the green lights, for example. So, really powerful that we can receive transmissions that bring more clarity in on this. And this is important because we are literally influencing the quantum field by doing this. We are literally creating a really positive timeline. We are influencing, we're putting information into the timelines that we want to create. I get this now on a whole new level. It really is very cool. And we are responsible for our energy. So a lot of this work seems like it's getting through clearing old density and energy, but clearing out the subconscious mind as well, so that we are liberated from that too. So interesting. Wow. Anything you'd like to say about timeline creation with this?
Well, yeah, I think you brought up a great point about the quantum model, how interconnected we are, and now that we're all sort of on social media, we're all connected by email and many different platforms, whether we're sort of public or just being private. And I think that really affects people in a very positive way when we do this sort of inner work and are changing our life, and particularly if we're going to choose to be kind of very radiant and bright, which is sort of what this transmissions bring forth. But yeah, I think the timelines are great. And then a little bit back to that kind of positive pressure. I think, with timelines, there's sort of time windows where I think just this is just more pointing out things that maybe either people have semi-consciously or consciously felt so that they can kind of bring it to the fore. But like when you have a project or like you said, you're in the flow, it seems like the doors open, and my sense is that in my experience, is that there's a kind of a timer on that door. Like it will open, and all the people are there, all the things are there, but it also will shift out, just like everything's changing. So like having that capacity to sense that that door has opened, because a lot of times it opens prior to it physicalizing. And so if you're kind of attuned, now this is maybe clairvoyance at the soul level. When you're really attuned to your soul, you can see when that window has opened, and you get a sense that it will close. It's not indefinite. And then you kind of take the shoot. You like you hit the shoot. You take that opening, and it's a great feeling. It's that flow feeling, and I've experienced that like with some trips, some of these big trips to like different countries where sacred sites where before I didn't have that opening, and then I did see that window open. So that's been my experience.
Well, this is wonderful. Again, we invite everyone to check this out and join us for this next series. It is always wonderful to be in the group structure because it is very supportive and to see how people transform literally in front of our eyes. It's again so beautiful. And this is attuning us to our soul. I love that phrase. We are attuning to our soul, and magic happens when we do that as well. It really is a beautiful place to be. So let's take a minute and do a little mini transmission so people can experience the energies.
Yeah, we'll do the transmission for the kind of beautifying or sort of shining the etheric body, which of course is a beautiful way to let that radiance actually enter a very physicalized form. Uh, so people can just relax if you had a certain intention that you wanted in terms of having that kind of youthfulness or beauty shine through in everything you're doing, in your energy. Could set that specific intention. And we're starting those frequencies and patterning now. It's kind of like a fractal emanation of the longer transmission that will be part of the series. We're deepening this exposure to the Arcturian inner radiance and glow at the etheric level. Finally, we're entering a third deepening of these frequencies, these patterns. Also, we feel very interconnected with all of nature through the etheric world, almost like an etheric web. Yeah. It's the exposure to the Arcturian inner radiance and glow transmission at the etheric level. You can gently come back to your physical body now. When you feel comfortable, you can open your eyes and snap your fingers.
So beautiful, so incredibly beautiful. Each phase of that was, for me, remarkable because at first it felt almost if there was a crispness to the energy and it was almost crystalline and I felt like a buzzing and it seemed more outside. And then the second phase, totally heart expansion, like the torus of our hearts just got larger and larger. And the third phase for me was very calm and gentle, like a soft lake with no ripples on it. Really, really beautiful. All right. We hope that everyone enjoyed that experiential of just a fraction of this transmission. And we invite you to join us. It's going to be 6 hours total. It really is so fun to be together. And what a supportive time as we're moving into this new year and the busyness of the new year. We can be clean and centered. So it's really great. Jean, is there anything you'd like to add about that frequency or this event in itself?
Yeah, I think you made a great point in terms of what's going on celestially or at a larger scale. So it's also I think a beautiful time to connect during the solstice, whether people are in the northern or southern hemisphere, winter or summer. Those are just very large energies that will kind of ride on top of what we're already doing as a group and with the higher interdimensional energies or beings coming through. So I think there's a big amplifier, and plus the end of the year, beginning of the new year, to the event.
All right. Well, thank you, Jean, for this little example. We are excited. And again, we invite those to check it out. Just scroll down on this webpage and you'll see all the details. We also include a bonus class, and that's also included on this page. Do you have an idea of what that is at this moment?
Um, I didn't have, yeah, we'll have to find one. Definitely there'll be one there that will kind of be very complimentary, and also if people want to prepare for this one.
Yes, yes. Maybe building the immortal body of light.
Oh yeah, that'll be a good one. I
Yeah,
should
that one
include that.
sounds good. Okay. All right. Thank you, Jean. Thank you, everyone. Any final thoughts as we say goodbye?
Oh no, thanks so much for taking the time, everyone, and Lauren, for being here. I think just even here, you felt the energies that were having an effect, and it'll be a good time. December is considered an initiation month in the kind of in pretty much all spiritual traditions, starting from the 1st of December all the way to the New Year. So this is a great time to really go within, as we have a lot of external activities, which is also very joyous.
Yes. All right, everyone. We hope to see you there and we send you our love. Thank you. Namaste.
Namaste.
This has been a presentation of New Earth One Network, your home for New Earth living. Access information, education, and videos on living from the heart in unity consciousness. Visit newearth1.com.